Hi friends, it's Angela with Wild Violets Art. Sorry, I've got some printing going on. I thought it would be done by now. So excuse the rattling noise. Should be done here shortly. I am doing the Inked Expressions Paper Pumpkin for April 2025. I mean, look at this gorgeous box. Just stunning. And the cards are just as beautiful. So let's get to it. These are the 3 cards, and this picture does not do its justice. So these are the 3 cards that the kit makes. I have already created a 1-page scrapbook page that is for the Paper Pumpkin alternates. I can't share it with you, but I can share a little sneak peek corner. So this is just a little corner of it, and I've got a sneak peek that I downloaded for you to look at. These are 2 of the card fronts that I used in my scrapbook page, but I want to show you some of the other items. So we have all of these stamps that go with it, and they're thinking of you, congratulations, hugs, you are amazing, I'm here for you, sending my love, on your retirement, and to the happy couple. So this is really a great kit and a great set of sentiments. So lots of different year-round use. And then, of course, we have the gorgeous envelopes. These are all the same. And then we have this card, which so pretty. And then I'm going to show you the full cards. This is the one with gold. And look, they have gold on the front and the back, which means you can cut it in half and you have 2 exactly of the same fronts. And then there's this one, again, that the 2 pieces are exactly the same. So by cutting them in half, you have twice as many cards. And then here's the wonderful little sentiment hugs. And look at that gold foil. Isn't that pretty? And then this is the ephemera that comes with the kit. There's this gold, pretty little foliage. And then look at this one. Isn't that gorgeous? I'm going to put it against a black card just so that you can see how amazing and beautiful that is. So because it pops so well with black, I'm going to use that as some of my backgrounds. And then we have these fun little sentiment placeholders. So in other words, let me get the stamp set. So some of these, which you may not be able to see very well, but this one is thinking of you. And this one up here is congratulations. And then, of course, the hugs, we're supposed to use the one that we have here. But the best news is that the Hugs a Bloom dies that are the Paper Pumpkin add-on have a cute little die that is hugs. So it doesn't quite fit, I think, the stamp set. So it's just something that you could cut out and have a sentiment that has hugs on it and adding it to one of these sentiments here. So a great kit. So let's get started on some alternates. Okay. So there is this black cardstock that I really wanted to use because I think that the cardstock itself just pops. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this down just a little bit and add it to this so that we have the black layer. And we'll put this on an A2 card base. So I'll use my basic white thick. And if you're looking at my new workstation, it's sticky. And so I like it because I was noticing a lot of my stuff was sliding around on the glass. So, okay, so I'm just going to glue the black right onto here. And that way I've got a great black card front. Wiggle it around till I get it to right where I want it. Okay, and then I'm going to take just 1/4 inch off of this card on 2 sides. And then I can just place it on here. Isn't that beautiful? So that means that for every one of these cards that are in the kit, there's 3 of them, I can actually make 6 cards. So, all right, let's just glue this onto the front. And then we can just then create it the way that it was meant for on the kit. And so we're going to stamp congratulations right on this little piece that looks like you fussy cut directly on it. So this is the Berry Burst, which is one of the new primary colors, but I'm going to use my stamp pad. And then let me just clean this off because this stains really fast. All right, so we're just going to take this off. And then you have the ephemera. And I can just pop them both up. So let me let's see, did this kit come with, oh, there they are, dimensionals. So I'm just using the dimensionals to keep the ephemera down. And then I'm going to place them also on the ends. And there, we're done with this card, but putting it with the black frame just makes it gorgeous. I just love how it just pops the color out. It's so pretty. Okay, so that's one card. And then we have this one here. And it's so pretty, but honestly, I think that it's something that can be cut in half and made even prettier. So let's just cut it evenly. And then again, I've got, this is an A2 card, but I cut the 8.5 by 11 so that it's 11 by 4 1/4, and then I've scored it at 5.5 inches. And then I'm going to put some black cardstock on the front again. And then you can add it however you want to, but just adding a little bit, it just is so pretty. It really, really is. And then we can add the sentiment hugs. And then we can add, let's see, this is God, I'm Here for You. All right, and then there's all these little sentiment labels that you can use for this little sentiment here. So I'm here for you. I want you to be able to see what I'm doing here. There we go. Clean this off. All right. But by just adding the black, you get this gorgeous, gorgeous look. So let's add some glue to the back of this so it holds it in place. So by doing this with each one of your cards, you end up with, because that would mean that you'd be cutting 4 of these out of every card. So you would have an additional, there's 3 of these cards. So that means you'd have an additional 12 cards out of this one. So you could really multiply your cards and still just have an absolute stunning card. Let me cut these in half for this hugs so that it's not too big for each one of the little sentiments. So I quite often cut my little Stampin' Dimensionals in half because otherwise they show. And I think that makes enough. Okay. And we'll just put one of these little dimensionals at both ends and have it straddle the rest of the sentiment. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, still the set card, but when you run out of the big hugs, you could make more if you had this little add-on. So in other words, you could just continue to make as many cards as you want and still use those sentiments, and you'll have lots of this cardstock. Okay, so the one that I think is the most stunning is using the ephemera. And putting it on the black instead of the color, because I think that while the color is really beautiful, I just want to show you how gorgeous this is. Now I'm going to cut this down so that I can use it for multiple cards. So I'm just going to cut straight here. And then I'm going to carefully cut along here so that I have, and then I'll patch up this little bit so it's rounded. And so you can see I've got this beautiful bit of ephemera, or I've got this one. And now let's die cut one of the hugs so you could see what it looks like. So I'm going to die cut it out of gold. So I've got a bunch of the 12 by 12 gold foil paper, and I've got a bunch of scraps. Let's see if that would fit on this, and it does. And I'm going to cut this because the gold, when it goes through the embossing folder or the die cutting, it ends up getting wrinkled and stuff. So let's do this one real quick. Sorry, it doesn't make sense to bring my die cut over here because it's way too much. Okay. I just want to show you how beautiful this is. Even without and you could always glue this down to a piece of white cardstock and make an outline for it. And I think I'm going to cut this down so it's a little bit smaller and have it layered with one of my cards. So let's cut this down so that it fits this. And then let's use this front because I really like this gold frame. I think it's really beautiful. Yes, I'm winging it a little bit. Sometimes inspiration just hits and you're like, okay. But you can hardly go wrong with this gorgeous kit. And I'm sorry to say that if you missed out on this kit, it is already sold out because there was a no shipping and also a sale on kits. So I'm going to pop this up. So I'm just going to find some locations that can handle, and then I've got the bottom, which has enough room for these little dimensionals. And this would be a good idea, though it's already too late, to use the black Stampin' Dimensionals because I think that it would show up less than the white. But I always forget to use them. Well, we averted some disaster here today. We were being warned that we were going to have tornado conditions, possible hail, huge amount of rain. So we were getting all kinds of warnings today. And then I'm going to add, this time I'm going to use the black. But there was no hail, no tornado, and hardly any rain, which I was bummed about because we could really use the rain. It's been so dry this spring. We've had a little bit of rain, but to me it's not enough. Using these little black dimensionals, you can see the foam is black. So once you get the cover off, then you end up with, it really hides it when you're layering it on black. And then you obviously have more than enough of these labels. You have 8 instead of 6. And so let's find another sentiment. Hugs, sending my love. I think that one will be good. But you can also just be using regular cardstock. In fact, I am going to stamp it down in between. So just so that you can see what I'm talking about. These little sentiment labels, there's space in between where I could actually cut them, and they're still big enough for these little sentiments. So I'm going to stamp down there instead of using my label, just to show you that it can be done. And then I'm just going to snip both ends and then take it off, and you can see that it's perfect for this little tiny font. Okay, and now I just need to add some dimensionals, and that's where these little black dimensionals come in handy. And because they're black, they don't show up. So we can put it down here, or we could put it across the card. And then it overlaps just a little bit on the edge, so I'm just going to snip that. And then we're going to add this to just an A2 card base. So you can see how beautiful that is. Oh my goodness. And then we still have the other side of the card, which is beautiful. And then I wanted to show you, so the ephemera, the gold ephemera, can easily be cut in half, so you don't have to use one whole side. But one of the things I noticed is look how thick that gold is. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut around it, and I'm going to use it as ephemera on my card. just why waste all that beautiful gold? And it just kind of looks like the outline of a foliage, and it just is really pretty. And it just gives you a little bit more fun stuff to use in your card. Hey, Linda, thanks for joining me. It was so nice to visit with you this last weekend. We had out-of-town visitors this weekend. It was really, really lovely because I got to craft with a good friend. We never get enough time with each other, but we're just sharing our time with our family and each other. So family first. And I do have an extra one of these inked expression paper pumpkin kits. So if anybody is interested, they're $27, and I can send it to you. But it'd be the first person that says that they want it on my Facebook page, or you can privately message me. I just have so much going on with the new catalog. I'm going to need all the time that I have to use for that rather than making extras with this card kit. So if you know somebody that wants one of these inked expression, a full kit that's not been opened, let me know. Because the refill is definitely sold out. There is no more of this beautiful kit. I'll just show the cards here. A little bit more, and then we'll be done. So for this one, I'm going to use the Thinking of You stamp set, and they have that fussy cut sentiment that goes with it. And we're using this ephemera instead of... So I just want you to see how pretty that is. So I'm going to cut it in half, and then I can just place it with a couple of glue dots. So I'm just going to place that there, and then I'm going to we'll use the Thinking of You. And remember, there's a fussy cut piece, and if you run out of the fussy cut, you can create it yourself. So it's not like you can't keep doing it. So Thinking of You, and it just fits the sentiment perfectly. And then I can just cover up the end pieces with this beautiful sentiment. So okay, and then I'm just going to add it to an A2 card base. in thick white cardstock. And see, I've used both sides of one of these cards. I've used a quarter of one of these cards, and then I used just one side of this card. So you can see you've got 4 more ideas for alternates. So hopefully you've joined it. Hey, thanks, Linda. So you've got these other alternates that you can do. And of course, I'll put them on my blog with measurements. And so I was just using a 4.5 by, or 4.25 by 5.5 piece. So this one would be 4.25 by 2 3/4, and that's just a half of one of those. So you can see this is the full layer, and then you could layer another piece of, I want to say, either Melon Mambo or the Berry Burst or the Peach Pie or Highland Heather would work with this, or even Gorgeous Grape. This one has almost a fresh freesia look. So again, you can cut these down and layer them with the black. They just pop so much when they are layered with the black. Let me just show you on this one because I have this black background. So I just want to show you how much it really pops it when you add the black. So much beautiful to these cards. So I hope that you enjoyed my alternates tonight. If you are watching later on YouTube, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Put a love in the video for this this live, and I'll be posting a YouTube live on my Facebook page as well. I know that the Facebook has been eliminating live videos, so be sure to note that I'll have the YouTube video on my Facebook page as well. So again, it's Angela with Wild Violets Art. I hope you're having a wonderful evening. And Linda, watch out for the terrible weather that's coming your way. Hopefully it misses you. All right. Have a great evening, and I'll see you soon. Oh, I'm going to be on vacation out of town on Thursday and Friday of this week, so I will not have a Facebook Live on Friday. But I'll catch up with you next Monday. Thanks.